Good early afternoon and welcome to our 19th annual exhibit of hydrogen and fuel cell technology at the Hanover Fair. We've been here since 1995 discussing this new and innovative technology. We'll be talking with one of the specialists about an issue that concerns us all here in Germany. They call it the Energiewende. I always say you can hear the winds of change, wind energy being one of them, and it creates enormous debate about the best way to deal with energy. One of the solutions to that is going to be presented by Guido Gummert. He's from BAXI INNOTECH. He's the managing director. Please welcome Guido.
Hello.
Hello. Before we get into the details and the very interesting discussion around the actual apparatus that you have here with you, could we talk briefly about BAXI INNOTECH? Could you tell us about the company?
BAXI INNOTECH is part of the BDR Thermea group. BDR Thermea is the third largest boiler maker in Europe, and our well-known brands are Remea, Die Dietrich. In Germany it's Brötje, or maybe in the CHP area, you know, our sister company Sannatech with the DAX. And BAXI INNOTECH is the R&D center and responsible for the innovation development of micro CHP, in the past Stirling technology, today fuel cells, and I think it will stay for a longer period on fuel cells because we see fuel cells as the future heating technology.
You picked a very strategic title for your talk here. It's called the Energiewende at home. That is the change from the energy economy we have now, dependent on fossil fuels, to the future taking place at home. Could you explain that concept?
Sure. When the German government is discussing the Energiewende, they are focusing very strongly on power. Renewable power with wind or solar, and they are focusing on the construction of the grid. And if they discuss saving possibilities, they say that 50% saving in the home is possible. What they don't say is that the politicians don't mean energy, they mean primary energy, and this includes an optimization of the heat in the home, and in the heat is the high potential, not in the power. If you change your lamps, you never have savings of 50% of your energy. Therefore, you have to change your heating system. Then you have these kind of savings. And this is exactly what I want to point out. That if you take out your old boiler system and replace it with our fuel cell system, then you have very, very high energy saving possibilities, and this is what we have to address to the politics so that they can understand that. And it is also the message to our clients that for you personally in your home, you have the possibility to do your own Energiewende with a new fuel cell micro CHP system delivering power and heat in your home.
For those of you who are not in Europe or living in Germany, I find it fascinating, just this one fact. Canada has, it's 49 times the size of Germany, and it has a third of the population. We don't have a natural gas grid that goes to every city. But when you're in Germany, the typical household gets like the lion's share of its energy that is for heating and for water heating, and often for cooking as well, all from that one source, natural gas. And particularly heating is the big expense, one of the big cost factors. So when we talk about this Energiewende, you just mentioned it, we're going to go into the standard European, particularly German home, but also in the UK, and replace that boiler that's been around for 50, 80, 100 years with new technology. What are the issues in installing that device, first of all?
54% of the existing homes have natural gas, therefore it is a very high market segment, and 75% of new build homes have natural gas as well. Therefore, natural gas is the existing infrastructure which is available for fuel cell heating technology, and if you install the system, it is very important that we as manufacturer delivering a complete system. In the past we have we had a strong focus onto the fuel cell unit itself, but the environment in which you put the system is very important, and therefore today, with our current Gamma PREMIO version, we deliver the fuel cell heating unit with an integrated boiler, and a hydraulic module which includes most of the hydraulic installation, and a storage tank for hot water. And with this system, the installer has only to do 10 piping connections for the installation. That's it. So we want to provide to the installer an easy installation. And the reason why we support the installer so strongly is that in Germany and also in other European countries, the installer is the person who is selling the system. And we as manufacturer, we have to take care that we give a good service to our installer, make sure that we are liable for the system, that we give a good warranty, that the installer has an easy installation, and that he is not responsible for any warranty issues, and that we give him a good training and a good support for this new technology. And even because the technology is so complex, it is even more important for fuel cell technology as for any other boiler technology in the past.
One of the issues one faces here in the European Economic Community, you can almost make a joke about it, is the regulations, restrictions, the rules. But there are very important safety issues when we use natural gas. Boiler technologies, those regulations have been around for some time. There's new regulations that pertain to the fuel cells that are being installed in homes. Do you feel satisfied with the way the regulations have been developed? Are they aiding your industry, or are they hindering it? It's such an important question, because if you manufacture a product and the regulations change, you may wind up with a product that's dead in the water. So are you satisfied with the regulations?
What we have to see is that there are upcoming regulations from the European Commission called ERP regulations for the classification of heating systems. And this is something what you know when you buy a refrigerator. There's the A, B, C, D class on the front side of the refrigerator. And if you go with your wife, you will never buy a C class. You always buy an A class with a very low power consumption, and therefore you will have something similar for heating systems. But it's more complex, because it's not only a classification of the unit itself, it's a classification for the total system. And normally the installer is responsible that if the installer installs the system in your home, to deliver the efficiency what he has mentioned before. And we as manufacturer want to make sure with the delivery of the complete system solution that we take this liability from the installer, take that over, provide the total equipment to the installer, and make sure that you will receive your efficiencies. And therefore it is important to deliver this complete system to also minimize my company risk when the installer is doing the installation, because then I know that you achieve the operational efficiency which we have calculated before.
Guido, many people are shocked when they hear at a hydrogen fuel cell exhibit, we're talking about natural gas. People expect a lot about green technologies, and here we are saying, no, we're going to use natural gas with a fuel cell. So the critique is on the tip of many people's tongues. What is the point of using a fuel cell and replacing a boiler with a fuel cell? Where's the savings? Are we going to reduce those nasty greenhouse gases that everyone screams about? The tree huggers are in the audience here. So how does one defend this technology when it's being used with natural gas?
First, you have this infrastructure available. That is the big advantage as compared with the mobile applications. We have our infrastructure, natural gas.
Yeah.
That does not mean that hydrogen in the future is not possible. Yes, but I need the infrastructure first, and I'm developing the heating equipment. Therefore, natural gas is very good. And if you look to which system saves more CO2 or which system saves you more energy cost, then this is connected to the operation time of the system. And if you have a solar thermal system, for example, then you only can use it for 6% of your heating, not more. And if you use a fuel cell system, it can provide up to 75% of your power needs per year, and more than 65% of your heat. And therewith, you have much more savings, even if you use natural gas, as you have a solar system on your roof. And this is very important. And if you look to the cost savings, we have now, from our former version of our fuel cell system, Gamma 1.0, we have more than 140 units in the field and have monitored them over a period since 2009 now. And we saw that we have savings in the field of around about 1,400 euro annual. And this is a lot of money. Okay, there is no service cost because this is the current field trial that the clients don't have to pay any service, but service will cost in the future around about 400 euro. So it leaves you with 1,000 euro savings. Wow. Show me any other heating technology where you can save 1,000 euro energy cost. And I think this is the important message why fuel cells are so good for an Energiewende in the home compared with other heating technologies.
This is very important, I think, because when we listen to the news about the Energiewende, often they terrorize us with the expected rise in kilowatt-hour price. So the answer to the question, this is the terror of buying electricity. A kilowatt-hour produced by your technology in the home is going to be less expensive than buying it through the grid from a typical electrical energy provider?
It is less expensive than buying it from an energy provider. And on the last ISH this year, in March, we had a press conference with Bidia Sameer, and I did that together with my CEO. And attached to this press release was also my presentation, and in this presentation I had a complete calculation, and in this calculation the outcome was 11 cents per kilowatt hour as production cost for power produced by our Gamma PREMIO system. And I think this is much less than you normally pay as power price at home. My power price in Hamburg is around 25 cents per kilowatt hour, or between 25 and 27 cents. And therefore it is very interesting. And this is one of the reasons why you have these high amount of savings, because power is very important. And if Mr. Altmaier is saying we have to look to the power price and we have to reduce the power price, then this is not going by master's order or master's voice, or however. It is going via technology, and the fuel cell can deliver reasonable power prices to end customers. All what we need for that is that we get a market introduction program, because the technology is developed and we have reached a technical status in which we are now ready for the market. And what we are waiting for now is the market introduction program, what we need to reduce the cost so that it's interesting for you to buy such a system. And we have to get down to install cost of less than 20,000 euro. This is a level which you also have to invest if you buy a boiler with solar, or if you invest into a heat pump. And you have to calculate the complete cost. That means equipment plus plus the installation. And if you're coming less to a level of less than 20,000 euro, it's attractive, especially of these high savings over the year, and you can calculate your economics. Therefore, to reach this target, we need a larger volume. Currently, we are producing around 70 systems annual. So we have to get into a couple of thousand systems annual, and the only way to reach that is a market introduction program.
I should mention that we do have time for questions from the audience. If anyone has a question, just raise your hand and we'll race over with the microphone. There are certain questions when you address market. You're introducing a new product and you're going to be stuck with dealing with people on the ground. Some plumbers got to come by and hook up the piping. How involved do you get in the process of installation? All these technologies need an introduction. So there's this real fundamental issue of who's visiting the home. How easy is it to provide them with the expertise they need to install and optimally operate the system you produce?
This is a very important topic, and in the current field trial project CALOX, which we joined since 2008, this was a special project to prepare training programs for installers and make sure that they get the right training for the technology. It is very important to train the local installer to ensure the correct installation and make sure that they see which technology fits into the home, and that they consult the end client in that way that if fuel cells does not fit, they offer other technology, because it does not make any sense to install a technology which cannot run on the highest efficiency. But if the criteria for fuel cells are fulfilled, it's important that they know how to install the technology and then offer that to the client. Therefore, we are in strong touch with the installers. We train them, certify them, and also give them a unique selling proposition for themselves to compete in a stronger market also in the future.
Before we conclude, is there any question we've missed from the audience? If I could ask one more, and it's difficult to answer briefly, but if it's possible, you've mentioned, as we were discussing this, that when you install these cells, basically your consumption of natural gas increases. This may be of interest to the natural gas providers, actually, but it increases because you're doing two things and not simply one with the natural gas. So the question's a little complicated. On the one hand, is this of interest to the natural gas providers? And on the other, is it possible to transition this technology towards renewable gases, green gases, and not simply fossil fuel gases?
It is possible to use biogas based on the concentration of natural gas. So it's called bio-natural gas in Germany. You can buy that. But also having a little bit higher natural gas consumption, this is around 12%. You pay less for the natural gas than you have as value for the power you produce, and this difference is very lucrative. That's the reason why you have these high savings with the technology, and therefore it makes absolutely sense to produce your own power, because it's at least cheaper to produce your own power based on your lower natural gas price. If you buy the power, you have to pay 25 to 27 cents per kilowatt hour.
We've been talking here with Guido Gummert, who is from BAXI INNOTECH, Managing Director there. His booth is E51, it's in this direction. Please continue the conversation there. One of the most informed individuals on this circuit for stationary applications. It's been a pleasure. We hope to see you next year, Guido.
Thank you.
Thank you.